Hey everybody, welcome back to The Pressing Matters. I'm Scott. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for your support. Today I'm going to be covering another Living Stereo title, and this time it's The French Touch by Charles Munch and the Boston Symphony Orchestra. I have a mono edition of this that I've had for a while. It was considered a placeholder until I found a stereo, but I never found a stereo, and I was like, I wonder why there's no stereos around. And then I looked, just last night, I looked on Discogs in preparation for this review, and I saw that there was only one pressing each of the mono and the stereo. The mono came out in 58, the stereo in 59, and that was it. There wasn't another reissue except for the CD in the 90s, and one French reissue in the 60s, but it's kind of odd that they never repressed this. So I said, let me check my dead wax on my mono, and I did, and lo and behold, it's a 1S pressing, 1S. So it's fairly rare, and there are not many available on Discogs. There was like 7 of one and 8 of the other, the mono or the stereo. So that is why I've never seen this in the wild, except for this one time I got lucky and got the mono. The mono presents this in a nice way. Tonality is great. The only thing about the mono is it's rather flat because you're not getting the ambiance of Symphony Hall, Boston Symphony Hall. And I have been there and I've heard what music sounds like played there. Boston Symphony Hall is considered one of the best halls in the world, and it's remained unchanged since it was built. No modifications or anything, and it has a reverb time that is just perfect for listening to music in the hall. It comes across often in the recordings as well, but on the mono you don't really get that, and that's one reason why stereo is preferred for this title. The other reason is the music. The music is from 3 French composers, and they do 3 kind of fantasy pieces. If you look at this cover, it's kind of a children's sort of looking thing, and it sort of reflects the lighthearted nature of this music. This is not serious music, like challenging classical music. It's more fun and accessible, I would say. You've probably heard one of the cuts already, Paul Dukas, Sorcerer's Apprentice, and that piece is used in the Fantasia film from Disney. In that scene where Mickey is in a wizard hat and he's casting spells everywhere, that is permanently in my mind as a picture for that music. And this music is kind of picture music. It evokes images, and if you read the liner notes, each one has a story, a little fantasy story that it was conceived upon. The Sorcerer's Apprentice employs the full forces of the orchestra and is really a glittering showpiece of this album. It takes up most of side 1. The second track is Saint-Saëns' Omphale spinning wheel, and for some reason it's a short track and it always goes by and I don't really remember what I heard. It doesn't really stick out in my mind. The third track takes up all of side 2, and that's Ravel and his Mother Goose Suite. That one is not like the showpiece on side 1. It's a little bit different. It employs Ravel's considerable orchestration skills. If you've ever heard Daphnis and Chloe or other Ravel pieces, you know he's a master orchestrator. And this employs a lot of strings. It's a little bit laid back and beautiful and more impressionistic, I would say. Maybe that's not the right word, but sort of dreamy. And a few times it'll come up to a climax, and of course at the end there's quite an interesting climax to the whole story. and sonically there's a climax as well. But this is very accessible music. Children love it. Newcomers to classical love it. And there's enough here to satisfy seasoned classical aficionados as well. Charles Munch is a great conductor of this type of music. He specialized in French music, of course, and Boston was very fortunate to have him in this period, and so was RCA. RCA did a series of recordings with him, and I love them all. There's a tagline that was used later for the Boston Symphony Orchestra, and it was the aristocrat of orchestras, and it really applies. They play with finesse and elan that is just beautiful, beautiful. The string tone on this album, which is so important in the second side, really comes across well on this disc. Ryan Smith did a beautiful job with the Analogue Productions version, which is beautifully presented, by the way. The jacket looks great. The pressing is immaculate, as always, and this has just been restocked. A rare living stereo that you should definitely check out. I absolutely love it. I was thrilled when I heard that they restocked it, and I immediately pressed buy because I knew I was going to love it, and I do. So that is my take on the French Touch. If you have any comments, please leave them in the section below. Until next time, I'm Scott for the Pressing Matters. Thank you so much and have a great day.